Right before we get into the video, do you want to show the world that you shoot RAW? Well, the new store.FroKnowsPhoto.com has launched, and you can go pick up your I Shoot RAW swag right now. Go to store.FroKnowsPhoto.com. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is a preview of the Nikon 50 1.2S lens, as well as the 14 to 24 2.8S lens for the Z mount systems, and these lenses have been long overdue. Now, before we get too far into this video, I do want to let you know that we do not have any official graphics supplied to us from Nikon at this time. I guess Nikon wants to stave off leaks, and so their way of doing that is to not give us any of the graphics for us to use in our preview videos, but the stuff ends up leaking out of Europe or Japan anyway and ends up on Nikon Rumors. So for this video, we're going to use images that we got from Nikon Rumors, or these two images that are going to fill in for the 50 1.2 as well as the 14 to 24 2.8. But when Photo News Fix comes out, the next Photo News Fix, it will have all of the graphics and sample images because Nikon will then go ahead and supply them to us. But let's start off with the 50 1.2S. It is about time that they took advantage of the larger mount. Their whole sales pitch at the very beginning was, we've got this massive hole in our camera. We want to fill it with 1.2 glass. Yet for 2 years, all we had was 1.8 glass, and now finally, well, not counting the 0.95 because that doesn't autofocus, but this is a 50 1.2, and I would love to have this lens if I was still shooting Nikon because I want that 1.2, and I just love the quality and clarity that you get out of Nikon glass, as well as the Nikon files are by far, in my opinion, the best quality files that you get out of any system, from Nikon to Canon to Sony. I don't even count the others out there that are, doing small stuff, but I love the files from the Nikon. So don't tell me I sit here and hate on Nikon all the time, because I keep telling you that the files are the best. The rest of the system, not so much. But the files are great. So there are 17 elements in this lens. There is an info display, which I still think is the biggest waste of technology. There's no reason to have a display there. Maybe I could watch some TV on it or something. It has 9 aperture blades, and it has dual STM motors. Now, dual STM motors are important because there's a lot of glass in a 1.2 lens. So when you have 2 motors going ahead and moving this stuff, it should equal faster focusing. Now, will it equal more accurate focusing? The answer to that is, Steven is not here. Dan is not here. It's just me making this video. The answer is no. We'll have to see what happens when I get this lens onto a Z7 and try to use IAF. You all know where I stand at this point on the focusing system from Nikon. It is the slower focusing system of the Nikon, Canon, and Sony's. It's, in my opinion, the less accurate one, and shooting at 1.2 demands that you are able to get the eye in focus if you are shooting at 1.2. We can do it with the R5 and the R6. We can do it with all of the Sony's A7R4, A7 III, even the A7C that they just came out with will nail at 1.2 time and time again. But will the Nikon do it with the current focusing system? We will have to wait and see. Now, in terms of length, it's 6 inches, which is roughly about this much. I know, I've seen this. This is 6 inches. That's not 6 inches. Whatever. Anyway, it's 6 inches long, and it weighs 2 pounds, 6.5 ounces. So it is a massive, chody feeling heavy lens. But that's what you get when you get 1.2s. If you want the best, it's going to weigh quite a bit. So how much is the lens? It's going to be $2,099.95. Yeah, it's a lot of money, but yeah, you're getting something that is a feat of engineering, and I'm sure Nikon's not putting out a bad piece of glass. This is going to be fantastic. All of their pro level lenses so far have been fantastic. Now, let's just talk about that for a quick second. You've got the S line. For whatever reason, they're calling their 1.8 the part of the S line as well. They call it superior quality. But also you have your 70 to 200, your 24 to 70, you have the 14 to 24, you have this 50, you have the 0.95 Noctilux. Their S lenses also. Now, in my opinion, they should be something else and have a gold ring around them to signify that, yes, I'm better, I use better glass. Not exactly that, but I don't consider the 50 1.8 and the 50 and all of the 1.8s to be the superior lenses. They're very good, they're light, they're enjoyable to use, and they get great images. But when you have something even better, those 1.2s, then I want to see that gold ring, and I want you to market that as even better. Call it the SS. No, do not call it the SS. Call it the Super Superior. Wait, that's SS. Yeah, don't call it that. Guys, hashtag, what should they call it? Down below, what should the superior line of gold lenses from Nikon be called? Anyway, it's $2,099 or $2,099.95, and there's no date on when this will be released. So shit, will it be 2021? I mean, it's not coming anytime soon, so they just announced it. Let me jump in here real quick to show you FroPack 2 in action with multiple presets on one image. Let's start with AC/DC, and that's what you get, followed by Charmin, boom, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, double stuffed Oreos, Golden Grams, and then we come down here to matte black. But check this out. There's like 3 different versions of matte black that you can play with, whether it's high contrast or low contrast. We created 15 all-new custom Lightroom presets that will help you speed up your raw workflow or give you a great starting point. Head on over to FroKnowsPhoto.com/FroPack2 because over there you can play with the sliders to see the befores and the afters. And if you decide to pick them up right now, they're currently on sale. Or if you pick up FroPack 1 and FroPack 2 as the FroPack bundle, you can save even more. Now, let's get back to the video. Now let's move on to the 14-24 2.8S, which completes the Hebrew Trinity. You have a 14-24, a 24-70, and a 70-200, all native lenses. These lenses are fantastic. The interesting thing here is that this is their first new 14-24 since 2007, when the 14-24 2.8F lens was announced or released with the D3 and changed the world of photography. When I got the D3 in 2007, 2008, I got the 14-24 and the 24-70 at the same time. I already had a 70-200, which had a hell of a lot of vignetting for that version 1 on that camera, but whatever, it did the job, it worked. But the 14-24 changed my perspective on photography altogether. Nikon is claiming in their research that this is the lightest and smallest 14-24 2.8, but guess what? It's not the widest because Sony has a 12-24 2.8 and they have a smaller hole. Nikon, you're supposed to have a bigger hole and you could do bigger things and better things than Sony was supposed to be doing. But Sony put out a 12-24 2.8 and you still put out a 14-24 2.8. See, Nikon doesn't seem to take the risks, which is fine. They have the standard stuff, and 14-24 is fine. I do like the extra 2 millimeters. Will I miss it? No, not really, but I like having it. Now, the biggest thing about this lens is the fact that you no longer have that bulbous front element sticking out, which meant you couldn't put filters on the front of it. You now have a 112 millimeter filter thread on the front of this lens. So yes, that's a large filter thread, but Nikon's going to put out some of their own filters, and hopefully you can find, I've never really heard of 112 millimeters, I think, but if you can get a 112 millimeter circular polarizer, then by all means put it on there. Or ND filters, put it on there. So it's very nice that Nikon was able to shrink this and make it even smaller, but sharper edge to edge because they took advantage of some new formulas that they could use because of the big hole of the Z mount. They still have the info display on here, which maybe will come in handy if you're doing astrophotography. Who knows? I still don't think you need an info display. I think it's a waste of space and a waste of time. They are including 2 lens hoods as well as 2 lens caps. That means if you have a filter on the lens, you can leave it on there and still be able to put the lens cap on. So good on you, Nikon, for coming up with something innovative that allows you to do that. Do I think this lens is going to be great? The answer is absolutely. Nikon makes some of the best glass. They've always made tremendous pro glass. The 24-70 is really amazing at focusing. It is super duper sharp edge to edge. I love that lens, and I love the 70-200 2.8 that they just came out with, and so I know I will love the 14-24. I still prefer that it would be a 12-24 and that Nikon would have taken some risk on it, but I am still hesitant with this entire system due to well, a bunch of limitations. We know the one card slot, the fact that you can't shoot vertical with the vertical grip because it doesn't exist is still a problem in professionals' hands. If you're a landscape photographer, it doesn't really matter that much. This is probably the best system that you have because the image quality off of the sensor and the quality of those raw files are fantastic, and I always say it, I think it's the best out there, like I said earlier in this video, so I give Nikon props for that. But at the end of the day, professionals have been waiting 2 years to complete their Hebrew Trinity, and they just got it completed, or actually it won't be completed till sometime in November when this lens comes out for $2,399.95. $2,400. Oh, by the way, when the 14 to 24 came out in 2007, it was like $1,549. Of course, a lot has changed in 13 years. Quite a lot has changed, but $2,400, whatever. You're a working pro, you get the job done with this. But the limitations of this system right now, they're there. And you know what? This is the truth of it. You all know that there's limitations. If you're a Nikon owner, you know there's limitations in their mirrorless system. I'm not saying anything that is controversial here. It's just the facts. And stop yelling at me for pointing out the facts that it doesn't focus as well as the Sonys or the Canons. It's just a fact. We've proven it time and time again, and I've used all these systems, and I love Nikon to death. I hope one day they come out with those pro bodies so that the Hebrew Trinity and this 51.2 and whatever they come out with in the future will be much better in professionals' hands. But for the last 2 years, I mean, you're not going to see the Nikon D5 shooters start using a Z7 or a Z6 or a Z5 for that matter. It's just not the right tool for professionals, and these are professional grade lenses that are going to be fantastic. So like I said, it's $2,400. It's going to be available sometime in November. We'll see if it's like November 30th or something when that lens does come out. So I'll have more information in Photo News Fix along with more graphics that Nikon will finally supply to us. But I want to thank Steve Sanchez for drawing up the cartoon images of the lenses so that we could have some graphics for you throughout this video to look at, and hopefully you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And that, you know what? That's where I'm going to leave it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.